Does anybody else think the Zeekr 001 look like the Fiat Coupe from the 90s? I think it looks really quite like it. A really good thing. Very, very pretty. And especially these days, a lot of cars look quite similar and like futuristic, you know. Most of you won't have heard of Zeekr, and I expect it's a very, very new thing to you if you have heard of it. That's because it only came out in 2021. That's when it launched as a car company. It's actually owned by Geely, which has been going for since 2007, a very long time. So before we go into all of the details about the Zeekr, who they are, and will we see more of them in future, they've made this car that's apparently a competitor to the dull Tesla Model S Plaid. So, my name is Ben Alexander, and I make EV news videos every day, and I talk about different things. Please consider subscribing if you're watching this, because you're probably interested in it, because you've clicked this video, and B, 60 to 80% of you aren't subscribed, but you keep coming back and watching stuff. That's really, really awesome. It is free, just subscribe, and that helps me build up my channel. And I'm trying to build this up into something bigger, so with any luck I can start to hire. Maybe one day, in a year's time, I might be able to hire some extra help and, you know, get a bit of help with producing these videos, because it takes a huge amount of time to just make one video every day. Which it's fine, actually. I really love doing it, so that is fine. Thank you very much to the Patreon supporters and YouTube members and people on Buy Me a Coffee. It is fantastic. It is really, really quite touching to have the people that keep watching my videos chuck me a couple of dollars. It's like $3 every month or so. Unless it's Buy Me a Coffee, which is just, I think it's a one-off thing. So thank you very much. Okay, so let's go over who Zeekr are, what their car is, what their mission is, with the 001/001FR, which is the fast one, that's today. The FR makes a big difference because it triples the price. And will it be cheaper than the Plaid? If you have any questions or thoughts pop up, then just put them in the comments below. I read all of my comments, I get back to most. The Zeekr 001FR has 4 motors, a total power of 1,247 horsepower, so that is 930 kilowatts. It also has 1,280 newton meters of torque. The top speed is limited to 174 miles per hour because of the tyres. They might explode a bit. The 0 to 62 miles per hour time this is where it gets very interesting, 2.07 seconds, but for some reason they've said it will do this whilst, quote, in a rolling scenario. So what does that mean, in a rolling scenario? Who does the 0 to 62 miles per hour test whilst not actually going 0? What does that mean? I have no idea. So surely that is not actually correct, is it? Because it's not 0 to 62. Clearly bonkers though, obviously. 1,248 horsepower is a lot of power in a small car. The battery is 100 kilowatt hours. It's an 800 volt configuration, which is pretty, really good. That also helps the heat. Not that this matters so much, of course. If you're producing 1,200 horsepower, you're going to get warm batteries, but generally it's a really, really good thing to have the voltage higher in batteries for multiple, reasons. Some very smart people and engineers watch my videos, so you can all explain below why it's good to have 800, not 400 volts in your car if you can. So also, Zeekr say, this is very, very complex stuff. Batteries are kind of a little bit above my head. I understand them quite well, but it's just so crazy. The technological advancements going on in batteries, it's just something new every month. They say the batteries have multifunctional elastic interlayers for better energy density, heat dissipation and safety. So they haven't mentioned the range yet, but they said it can charge from 10% to 80% in 15 minutes if you have access to a charger that can chuck in all that power. So they can pull 1.4 Gs in the corners. That's pretty quick. That's very, very quick. It's actually quite hard to get a car to pull more than 1 G. So the brakes, this is also very, very interesting. The brakes are 420 millimeters or 16.5 inches. Carbon ceramic on the front. On the back, they're just that much smaller. So they're 10mm smaller. That much. Tiniest little bit. So they're bigger than most steel wheels or a lot of alloy wheels in small cars. That's how big the brakes are. Massive. The company Zeekr also make the standard version, which is 1/3 or so of the cost of the fast version. So the fast one is 140,000 US dollars, equivalent of, so it's Chinese money, but you know, in the US dollars, $140,000. Zeekr emerged as an independent company only in March 2021, and making its official debut on August 17th, I think it was, August 17th, 2021, and they introduced their first model, which was the Zeekr 001, and I actually kind of sniffed my nose up at it a little bit. I just thought, meh. And then it's grown on me. Now I really, really like it. So deliveries actually started in the same year, in 2021. So they didn't mess around. Generally, I think that's because it's owned by Zeekr. Not Zeekr, Geely. So Zeekr 001 is currently offered as that's the slow version, so without the letters FR, currently offered in 4 different configurations. 2 of these models have a starting price of about 40,800 US dollars, and the remaining 2 are $7,000 extra and $12,000 on top of that, respectively. So among these 4 versions, only one features a single motor, which can accelerate from 0 to 62 miles an hour in 6.8 seconds, which is still quite fast, isn't it? So in contrast, the other 3 models are all equipped with dual motors, and they can go from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds or so. And then there are different battery sizes and specs and whatnot. So they sold, this is going to surprise you, they sold a surprising number of cars. If you consider the company's age and the fact that nobody in the West knows who this company is, you know, it's really kind of just a China company at the minute, and they sell most of their cars, obviously almost all their cars, in China. They sold 72,000 cars last year, which is a fair bit, really. They plan to double that this year, so they're looking for 140,000 cars this year. I don't know if they're on track. I will try and find that out. Their cars are pretty nice to look at, and I think it seems reasonably priced if it's 40 or 50 or 60,000 US dollars. Obviously, they won't sell too many of them, of the fast ones, because it's just expensive. You know, $140,000 is really just a few percent of people that can afford it, and then who want it, you know, and then who don't want it less than something else, you know. So, and who would buy that when they could buy a BYD Seagull? I do like me BYD Seagull. Somebody will sell me one day. Zeekr is actually owned by Geely, which is a company that makes some really, really good cars. They've made cars for years, and they make the small EV, which is really, really, really cool. I'll put a picture on the screen. This is really cool. It's the Geely Panda Mini, and I think it's really fantastic. It's really cheap as well. I think it's something like 9,000 US dollars. It's really, really cheap. Zeekr are also aiming to join the US stock exchange, as widely reported all over the internet, and they want to have a valuation of about, somehow they're going to try and pull this off, 10 billion US dollars, and I actually think it might do well if they go public. So if you look at their cars are great, and their reviews are pretty decent. They've sold a lot of them. You know, Geely make fantastic cars, especially the Panda Mini, which annoyingly I can't buy it unless I import it. Again, you know, it's kind of annoying, isn't it? All these really cool cars, and we can't get them if you're in, you know, England, or if you're in Australia, you just can't get them. So Geely have been listed since 2007. Here is the view of their stock sheet and their stock price as it is now. So it looks as though Zeekr is going to go public, and they actually might have a chance of doing well, I think. So as opposed to some companies that go on there immediately, they start here and they go up and then they just flop and then they just simmer around the bottom like that. I don't think that will be the story with Zeekr. I really, really don't. Thank you very much to those of you watching this far. If, you know, I was wondering if you can let me know what brands you want me to cover, or what type of vehicles, videos or vehicles you would like me to cover or make in the future. please just take a second and put a quick comment in the comment section for me below. Sometimes I put videos up about, say, Volkswagen. Nobody seems really interested in that, but if I talk about BYD stuff, people are really interested in that, and I want to talk about everything. So, you know, even if it's not interesting to a lot of people, I'm still going to make these videos. I really, really will. I'm just really interested if you could tell me what you want to watch. Remember to subscribe so YouTube will show you my new videos every day. I make them every single day, so please consider clicking the like button for me too, which would be really appreciated.